In a one glorious kingdom of Aurelia, there sent a princess whose name was Seraphina. For she was a kind and intelligent girl beloved by her people, but often Seraphina felt a stranger in this world. In her dreams, she saw the perfect picture of a wonderful and utterly mystic kingdom up in the sky, which she never really saw, but always wanted to. It was a day of North Continent exploration when, wandering around the royal library, Seraphina found an ancient book covered with dust, which was entitled as The Forgotten Kingdom. Within it was a world called Arendor, the description giving it as a grand city of the sky that has been thus deserted for centuries. It was said that the kingdom could only be seen by the incarnation of the heir to the lost kingdom's bloodline. Curiosity burned within her. Is this the place she used to see in her dreams? The book also pointed out that the road reached Arendor from the top of the Aurelia Mountains. And so, without any sort of discussion, Seraphina promptly gathered her things, changed into more traveler-like clothing, and took her leave. I went through a very dangerous trail, steep cliffs and sharp winds. Sitting on the ground at one point, Seraphina runs into a man named Kiran, a young man who stated that he is traveling in search of adventure. Seraphina had always been cautious of strangers, but she quickly learned how useful he was of him to be so clever and quick thinking. It seemed that soon everything started to get uncanny as they ascended up the mountain. One thing that Seraphina saw was that the clouds in the sky seemed to change and move in response to what she was feeling. There's a story when Kiran almost fell off the edge of a cliff, and the clouds beneath came too close to him, which was a good thing, because he doesn't live anymore. We know you are not a normal traveler, right? My darling, Kiran replied, his ire dismissively scrutinizing me. Seraphina continued to think, but then she agreed to believe him. I really think I've got the potential of being the descendant of Arendor, the kingdom no one knows about. It was a big dream, dear. I've dreamed of this place my entire life. Kiran smiled enigmatically. Then perhaps it was correct of me to follow you. That was when the question about his alibi could be asked. But then there was the mountain top. One of them saw a huge, spiraling whirlpool of light and clouds above, just under the roof of the sky and entrance. A voice echoed around them. To take Arendor, you have to demonstrate to me that you deserve to get it. I mimicked the phrase familiar to me from the game. Fearful mass of black liquid approached Seraphina and Kiran, and it was as large as the kingdom itself. Seraphina, therefore, proceeded towards the storm and challenged it. She had felt the clouds answer her once, and asked the storm to clear, demonstrating bravery in relationship with Arendor. They stare in the house of mirrors, which offered them multiple versions of Seraphina, to say the least. She was depicted in some mirrors as a nasty witch, in other mirrors as a kind queen. Finally, she had to decide between reflecting the true self and become a ruler. She comes to the understanding that a ruler man has to accept her positives and negatives. In the final trial, Kiran revealed his true identity. He was the guarantor of Arendor, destined to put the heirs through their paces. You are a god now. Having passed the first two tests, you must choose now. Arendor will only accept you as queen if you promise to accept no husband and share your throne with anyone. Will you leave behind all your friend and relations of Aurelia and take upon this throne? Suddenly Seraphina has ceased to speak. Then with dignity she said, no kingdom is governed without help. It was said, in my fault I have not forsworn my people or my helpers. Arendor needs a ruler that will appreciate the importance of togetherness. The kingdom exploded into light, and the voice continued, you have passed, Princess Arendor. All that I have, all this, can be yours, the forgotten kingdom. And at its breakup on the relief, out came the inhabitants of Arendor from their magical sleep. Finally, Seraphina became queen, and with the help of attachment to the sky, she became their queen. Then, getting into the places of the spirit of the first king's guardian, Kiran looked cheerful. You've restored Arendor. And what else will you do now, your majesty? Looking ahead, Seraphina looked on the lengthy line on the horizon. This is my heritage, Arendor, but I will not neglect Aurelia. These kingdoms can unite as it was always intended to be, which is a notion that you so strongly dismiss. And thus the princess of Aurelia becomes the queen of the skies, the demon of two worlds, and to prove that even the kingdom which is forgotten by the world may find the new destiny with the new queen on throne.